Hey there, welcome back to Q Live. My name is Bill Selleck. Pronouns are he, him. I am the Director of Technology at Hillbrook School in the San Jose-ish area. Excited to be here for Q Live. Our guest today, Sandhya Raman. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Bill. Yes, I'm doing well in this side of your San Jose-ish area.
Yes. Yeah. So tell us, what do you do? Where are you?
So I teach mathematics at a middle school in San Jose-ish, the other side of the ish. And I've been teaching for 5 years. This is my fifth year, and I teach math.
Awesome. Very cool. And you have two sessions at Fall Q. And they both sound incredibly interesting. So if you're a math person, you're going to love these. If you're not a math person, you're going to be fascinated by these and want to be a math person, right? So walk us through, what are your sessions?
So I have two sessions this weekend coming up, and one of them talks about the mathematical language routines that probably many of us are already doing in our math classrooms. And it's a little walk around how to do it, what I do, and share some of the goodness around it, especially because I have a lot of language learners in my class. So that's been very helpful. So I wanted to share about that. The other session is about how to take mathematics beyond a classroom, like in a math room, as I call it. Like any room can be a math room, so taking it beyond a classroom. So it's going to be a little few things about how to do it with families, how to engage them, how to do it when you're on a road trip, or maybe when you're in the kitchen. So come check that out.
That's awesome. So I want to know about on a road trip. How do you actually do some math on a road trip?
So
Aside from the are we there yet? Not yet. That was the 45th time.
that's counting right there, Bill, in case you didn't notice
That is
that.
counting. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, counting
Your
integers. But what else
distances,
can you do?
your distances, how far we are, how much time you need. There's a lot of math that goes on around that. Symmetry, looking at nature, patterns. What do you see around you? So there's a whole bunch of things that. So come to the session and check it out, Bill.
Nice. That sounds really cool. I'm wondering, I'm thinking, my kids that are now in first, third, and fourth grade, if maybe like our fourth grader might keep like a journal about where we're going on the road trip and count, miles, I don't know, like as we go, miles to go, or it'd be like for the day, how many miles total we have, and then keep track as we go, perhaps. Would that be a cool way to do it?
There are so many different ways to do it. I have an 8-year-old myself, and my other one is a 12-year-old. So they have different levels of mathematics, but we kind of bunch it in. Even when we stop at a pit stop for food or something, like talk about the food, that there comes your PE and your health and food over here. How much calories are you taking in? Is it part of your food group? How many food groups do you have? You can go down to basic counting and numbers. You can build it up to higher level, bringing in fractions like distance, talking about jumps on the number line. How far away are we from home? If we spend so much time getting here, do you think we'll get to grandma's house in the next few so many hours? And so on. The conversations go on. You can go on and on about it. Talking about trees, that's one of my other favorites because there's pattern right there, and that takes you on to build on other conversations around numbers and patterns. That's another thing that I like a lot. Gas stations, that's always how many trash cans do you see? Do you think that's placed in a way that everybody can access it easily? Do you think it should be farther apart? Or bathrooms, how long did you have to wait for the bathroom this time? And things like that. So even small things. Maps are fantastic. That's great interpretation and visually appealing to many of the kids. My little one loves maps, my older one hates it, so it's she's the GPS person. And then there's always the Hey Siri to answer any of the fun trivia question, like, do you
Sure.
know who Galileo is? Do you know what Galileo did? Or where have you heard Pascal anywhere? So that's your chat about the mathematicians around the world that you can bring in.
Oh, that's so cool. When you're doing maps, do you actually print out maps
I
or
do
buy
have
like an actual map?
I do have a Rand and McNally.
Okay. Nice. That's cool. I mean, that's such like, I'm trying to find like the right word. It's not like an easy way. It's like such an engaging way to
It,
deal
it
with maps, right? Like in a way that like it's not necessarily a skill that kids need, but if you're actually talking about mapping, like it's like the whole schema of how you need to think through what pages to turn to and how to go next and how you zoom in and out like it was on paper. Like that would be profoundly interesting for some kids.
And my little one, we also have the maps on the tablet, like on the GPS, how to see the map there. So she has this tendency to just zoom in and zoom out of the random McNally, which is humorous. So that brings in a whole new element of learning. Like, can you just zoom in? What do you do? That brings the conversation around scaling. So if you really need to see it deep in, how do you zoom in? How does it happen in a real paper map? Like, is there a part of it? How do you read that? How do you interpret that? So we haven't gotten that far yet, but hopefully that scaling and the scale up and the scale down comes in as a conversation at some point. We do talk about
Oh,
scaling in and out with pictures. So
you just gave me such an amazing idea, Sanja. Um, I am writing. I don't know if you know Odd Squad. Do you watch that with your 8-year-old?
yes.
So those for those that don't know it, it's a math show, but it's also right math and odd, but it's also about oddness in the world. And so these kids are Odd Squad agents, and they solve oddness in the world through math. So we're writing our own Odd Squad episode, and our episode nobody gets to steal it. All right, you promise, everybody. All right, it's on scaling, and so we're gonna do like the pinch where you like crush someone's, like we're gonna do that part. We're using action movie FX.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember that one, the bad robot where like a giant worm's going to come out of the ground and they're going to use the scalinator. Everything ends in a nator. Um, the scalinator, and so they're gonna like dial it and make the giant parasitic worm be too big and then smaller and then finally teeny tiny in their hands. So we're going to talk about scale that way. But oh my goodness, they need to be in maps, right? And they scaled it and they're like, it's only this far to walk, but it could actually be, if you look at the scale of it, you can just pinch to zoom. The scale could be that, oh, that's actually way too far to walk. We need to drive.
That's a
We're going to
good.
add that to our episode. That's such a great example too, is because like, 2 inches means nothing. Like you have to know the scale, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. And that's such a great real world way to make that particular math, concept come alive. I love
I'm
that.
excited to see that episode now. You're giving me other ideas
Yeah.
now. As I'm talking, I'm thinking, what can I do next month in my class with the video? That's a good idea, Bill.
You should do your own fan fiction Odd Squad episode,
I love that. And
right? Yeah, when I was
squad
teaching, go ahead.
and call it even squad, maybe.
Maybe we're calling it Odd Squad still.
Fine.
We are. We're just owning it. But their station is it's Odd Squad Station 13579. So we're doing Odd Squad Station 97531. There's scripts everywhere online. You can like find the script. When I was teaching second grade, we ended up making a music video about cardinal directions, northeast, south, and west. And for I think 2 weeks, we actually threw away the textbooks that we were supposed to be doing for language arts, and
Mhm.
we just wrote our own lyrics and really got into like poetry and rhyming, and they were so into it. Yeah, I mean, so that hits, as a math teacher, like you're trying to actually get some writing standards in there. My goodness.
Like,
Yeah.
you've given me some great ideas right now, so I'm already thinking ahead.
Yeah, well, I got those great ideas from you, so we're doing it back and forth. Look at this, back and forth and back and forth. What's happening? I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Cues happening.
Yeah, it is. That's fantastic. Well, look at that transition. Um, let's talk about one of my favorite math, science, chemistry teachers, J.R. Genexarinian. Amazing human, extraordinary human. I've had the pleasure of hearing him present a number of times. He's keynoting. It is so, so great. If you happen to not be available for his keynote, be sure and catch the recording of it later. I am so, so excited about hearing JR get to talk a little bit. So he does some really cool stuff. Chemistry is what he taught the most full time, and he makes some really cool connections, like what we've been talking about for sure.
I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to that keynote.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Last thing, how do the humans find you? You want to share website, social media, resources?
Humans can find me on Twitter. I am on Twitter at SANDYRAMAN at Sandy Raman. That's my Twitter handle. So reach out, and I love to make friends on Twitter. So please, please, please let me know. And I'd love to connect back with everybody because everybody has brilliant ideas. Just like Bill just threw like 17 ideas at me. Odd number. I don't know if you noticed that. Odd prime, even better.
Yes. Oh, Prime Squad. Ooh. All right. Let's end on a high note. Thank you
Yep.
all for joining us for Q Live.